Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm your host, Nick Rational, and with us is Finance Talk. My co-host here is Eugene, and today we're going to be talking about what to invest in. And so we're going to talk about what is the universe of investments that you want to invest in, and what asset classes are good ones, and how do we choose them. And so let's dig into it. Value investors believe in cash flow. So buying gold is not really an investment. We believe we need to know the value of the asset, and so crypto is not an investment. The universe of investable things is buying a business or starting a business. It is buying property and renting it. It is buying things on the public market, the public exchanges, public equities, that's stock. And we're here mainly to talk about stocks. And so we'll now talk about how we choose what stocks are in our universe. What thoughts do you have?
Yeah. Hi, guys, first of all. And speaking about your question, yeah, I definitely agree that we as a value investors need to think about purchasing the stock as the purchasing part of the business. So here we all think that when you go and buy the Coca-Cola, for example, or Meta or any other different companies, not a financial advice, of course, we will consider ourselves as the owners of the company. And we pay careful attention to the management, to the particular revenues, revenue growth, the competitive advantages of the particular company, and other different little details which can help us to earn more as the business. And when we go and look for different stocks on the market, I think that first of all, we need to consider that we need to understand the business. So, for example, when you go and purchase the small business, for example, which produces some decent cash flow every month, would you buy that or not? So you probably ask some questions of what will be the business, will be the product or service, what knowledge you need to run the business, and all this different stuff. As a result, you need to understand whether you are skillful and whether you are professional to run this business, and you have decent knowledge, and whether you understand the business. This is the same with all buying stocks and different securities.
I fully agree. Let me add that my preference personally, and there are thousands of ways of shrinking your investment universe to make sense to you. Each individual investor has their own methods of determining what is a safe investment, what is a wonderful business. And so we'll discuss different ways that people shrink that universe, because if there's 54,000 stocks you could invest in globally, or 100,000, you need to shrink that down. There's no way you could research all those companies. And so we look at various things to determine, is it safe for us? Is it a healthy investment? Is it a good company? I think we should dig into some of those methods to shrink that list down. I'll start off with just one thing that I look at that shrinks it down from 50,000 or 100,000 down to 9,000. So that's a big shrinkage. What I do is I only invest in companies that are headquartered in the United States and are on the United States stock exchanges. The reason for this is that there's a lot of fraud in other countries. No offense to those countries, but they need to get their act together because I want to invest in those companies. For example, I have heard that the Chinese stock exchange, the numbers can't be trusted as much as the United States, because here in the United States you can go to jail if the numbers are wrong, and it seems that in China they don't seem to care so much about it, and so there's several sets of books and you don't know which one you're looking at and if the numbers make sense or not. So I only invest in the United States, and that shrinks down my investable universe to 9,000 stocks.
This is a really great indicator for that. Maybe you as an investor can have different indicators. So maybe you born or raised in China and you have really great understanding about this particular business and this company. So these rules are not 100% right. And the main idea in the investing, which I really like, is that you can apply all these metrics and choose between them. So for example, if you prefer Chinese companies or only US companies, it's great. Speaking about myself, I would probably go to companies not only in the US, but also in Europe, because I have quite decent knowledge about this region as well. And I also probably would go to companies which are heavily diversified in themselves, companies like Tencent or Amazon or Google, but not so huge in the scale, because you can really diversify your risks by owning several of them, because they all almost always invest in different businesses. They create different startups in order to be competitive on the market, and they have already different fountains of cash flow on their hand. This actually shrinks their universe from maybe 100,000 or 50,000 and 9,000, as Nick previously said, to 500 or maybe 1,000 or 2,000 companies.
That's exactly right. You should invest in your own circle of competence only. That means that you understand how the business makes money, you understand what the important metrics of that business are. And I'll give an example of finding what's in your circle of competence. Phil Town, one of the investment gurus out there, in fact, he's my favorite. You know, if it's possible to have an investment dad, he's my dad in that way. He got me a very good foundation in understanding this kind of stuff. So he has a method called the three circles, which helps you to determine your circle of competence. And effectively, one circle will be, how do you make money? And so all the ways you've made money in your life, you write them down into that circle. So if you've worked at a bicycle shop, you write down bicycles. If you've taught people, at school, you write down schools or education, and you write down all the things that you've made money at. If you've done professional fire dancing, then you write down, fire dancing, and then in the next circle, you write down things that you're passionate about. And that would be, hobbies and interests and things that you love reading about or doing. So say you like to play paintball, or you're an avid stamp collector. You write down those things. And then the final one is the circle is where do you spend your money? And so that would be which stores do you go to? Which products do you buy? And you write it all down in there. And then you look for overlaps. And if you've got something in all three circles, there's a good indication that that's your circle of competence. And it's always going to be bigger than you think. If, for example, technology, for example, for me and for Eugene, would be in our circle of competence because we've worked in technology, we're passionate about technology, we've spent money on technology. And so now we can look at technology companies. We understand them better, we know what their products are, and it's a much safer bet if we're staying within that lane. If I were to go and try and buy stock in a bank, I don't really understand how they make money or what their numbers are or what's important. There's a very good chance I would make a mistake if I was operating outside of my circle of competence. What do you say about that, Eugene?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And you probably know there is a different trick. So when you go to different new field, you on the deep of your mind try to think that this will be really great and this will be really easy, and then you come out with different obstacles which you even didn't thought about that, and you understand that this won't be so much easy as I thought previously. And this is the trick in our mind, which usually in every person's head. So there is a circle which we know. So these are all knowledge and skills we already acquire and have. Around that is the circle which we do not know. And we actually know that we do not know this stuff. So for example, I do not know Chinese, I do not know complicated algebra, etc. And most people do not know that there is a third circle, which is quite bigger than previous two. And these are things we do not know, and we do not know that we do not know them. So, and this works in almost every field of our life. So for example, when we go to learning Chinese, we do not know that we will need different pens and different paper for them. And we start to know them, knowing that we do not know some different sentences or different variations only after we will face with those obstacles. So the same thing is with the investing as well. So this is really important to stick with your circle of competence. And as Nick said previously, it is really great to know about the field which you worked with. For example, IT as for Nick and for me, because you really understand all the pros and cons of everything, and you understand all the minutiae of different processes, and it will help you to understand that, okay, if I invest something into this stock, the business will be protected and I will make money on them, and the business will make money as well. I can also add that another great thing to understand and actually enlarge your circle of competence besides working is just reading and learning from everything you can possibly imagine, from movies, other people, traveling, all this stuff. It really helps you to understand all things which you do not know. And if you really like them, you can just go and dig deeper in them. And this will increase your ability to invest in different companies and different securities. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any questions or any additions to what we said previously, please write down them in the comments below. And as always, subscribe and join our community where we grow together as investors and become better at what we do in finance and investing world.